Hey everybody, it is Kneecap here, and we have a bit of an emergency video here regarding Paladin stuff and the Divine Resonance complete neutering or nuking or destruction of Divine Resonance and the dream that Rhett was prepared to live in 9.1. So here's the blue post here from Blizzard. We've had an additional update, which is now available for testing on the PTR. Kyrian Divine Resonance reduced the duration of Divine Resonance to 15 seconds from 30 seconds. So literally cut the duration of it in half. And this is a huge, huge nerf to it. Now, there will be a lot of memeing going on, of course. There'll be a lot of, doomsaying as well. This is still a good legendary, but I will say this is a humongous nerf, and it takes a lot of the excitement out of playing Ret in 9.1 because of how much of a nerf this actually is. So, before I go any further, let me just say, I don't run the simulation craft profile for Retribution Paladin or anything like that. So I did do some math and stuff on it, and this is not official. This is largely opinion. Like I said, I did try to crunch some numbers and stuff, but this is largely opinion based from sims I have seen already. So people are doing sims with just a profile, meaning like the tier 27 profile for Ret, which is just all the best in slot stuff on, and kind of comparing it and then adjusting the duration of the Divine Resonance Lego in the profile and seeing how it changes. And it changes quite a bit. 400 or so DPS usually. It seems like it's changing, which falls in line pretty accurately with what I was coming up with at my current gear level. Because obviously power gains scale up as we go with these domination sockets and whatnot. So just to be clear, this is mostly opinion. It's just an educated opinion, I guess you might say. So basically, this is a big nerf. So it's a 50% duration nerf on Divine Resonance. And what does that mean? Does that mean it's a 50% nerf? Well, not quite, but it is pretty close to that. Ends up being, by my math, like a 40 to 45% nerf. And that's because you still are getting the extra during your execution sentence window. When playing Kyrian Ret, typically you've played execution sentence with Final Reckoning, and it's still in your window, so you still get like an extra hit in there, which is really good, which is why it still is a good legendary. The issue will be now is that some people were hoping to maybe play Zeal with this, and and basically just play some other things that we haven't played. Zeal was the biggest one, of course, because it does kind of work well with the Divine Resonance Lego. However, that is probably not going to be the case anymore with this, and so you're probably going to be playing the same talent setup. And what is happening is, and people have again already kind of simmed this a little bit, you'll end up seeing that Divine Resonance is just barely ahead of Final Verdict for pure single target. Now, there is not a ton of pure single target in the raid. There are single target fights for sure, 100%. There's not a ton of pure single target in the raid, and obviously for Mythic Plus and other content, you aren't necessarily going to want to be playing single target either. So single target is always really good. It's really good to have that priority damage. And Divine Resonance will probably be just barely ahead of Final Verdict. Now, what does that mean? Now, you can only upgrade one legendary at a time, essentially, right? As we build up our Soul Cinders. So, if you were planning on using Divine Resonance, I would still recommend using Divine Resonance. So while the power is greatly decreased, and the coolness and everything like that, it's so disappointing, frankly. And that is all the case. It's all that will be true. It'll be very disappointing. The power increase will be much lower, but I still do see this being the top legendary because it's still so versatile. It'll obviously, like I said, I think it'll be barely ahead of Final Verdict for pure single target, and then it's a pretty decent option for multi-target as well. And you're only ever going to be really using Tempest for like pure AOE or like super parsing type things, right? And maybe you still can use it Mythic Plus, I guess. Although I again think Divine Resonance is probably still going to be a little bit better. And so yeah, so you're still probably going to use it. It's just not going to be nearly as strong. It's going to be very disappointing. I would imagine even tomorrow there'll be some updated sims on this. And I want to say for a finalization of this, when I do my 9.1 rat guide next week when Mythic comes out, I will have some more 100% information, I'd say. So whereas I say at the beginning of this video, this is, largely opinion, I want to, in those actual guides, it's not opinion. That it'll be more based on the sims that have been run to kind of probably state what I'm stating now, frankly, but to kind of confirm it, right? You have to confirm something. You can't just say it and have it be true as a proclamation. You do have to prove that it's true. So, yeah, it's very disappointing for me. I was looking forward to getting this huge buff. For me, just in my current gear, it was going to be like a 500 DPS upgrade because I would get to I'm at like the higher haste cap with my gear, and I was able to I could switch around some gear as well, like more versatility, more mastery, stuff like that, and it was going to be quite a DPS increase for me, and it's going to be quite small now, comparatively. So the biggest thing I want to say why this is so disappointing is because this legendary Divine Resonance, you actually had to manage the judgment debuff, right, to get the full value of it. And the reason why sim it so high is because it's assuming that you're never double judgmenting a target, right? Like, it has a judgment debuff, so you're not going to judge it again, either with your proc from your legendary or from you pressing judgment. And so you do have some management there, and weak auras would trivialize that a little bit, but at least you'd have to have a weak aura for it, right? Like, I wasn't planning on using a weak aura for it, but at least a lot of people would have a weak aura for it. At least it takes a little bit of extra brain power to do it. Whereas Final Verdict doesn't take any extra brain power, and it actually just makes it easier because you cast at a range. So to have it be equal to that is a little bit absurd in my opinion. The best case scenario, I think, is maybe they change it up to 20 seconds. Maybe they revert it back. I don't necessarily think they'll revert it back to 30 seconds. Maybe they'll buff it up to 20 seconds. Maybe they'll do, 25 or something like that. I don't know. That 20 seconds is probably, if I had to guess, 20 seconds would probably be about the best you can hope for if they were to change it again before Tuesday, because they're going to try to do all these changes before it's like set in stone, right? Before people are like literally crafting the legendaries on Tuesday when this unlocks. So yeah, it's very disappointing. If as of right now, if you're watching this video and it's there hasn't been another update since today, so this is right on the heels of this change coming out. If there hasn't been an update or change to it, I would say you're still probably going to want to craft this legendary. It'll still probably be your overall best Kyrian legendary to play with. Obviously, you have to be Kyrian to use it, so I guess that's a unneeded point there. But it'll probably be your best legendary still, and the one that you'll want to level up for raiding, for example. It's also not a terrible PvP legendary with some of the talent changes as well, but the legendary that you level up first to rank 6 or whatever, this is most likely going to be the one that you want to do. But yeah, that's about it for this. Just wanted to put this out there because there's going to be a lot of, like I said, it's dead. And some people might accidentally upgrade their Magistrate's Judgment or something like that. And I just want to say that this is still probably going to be the best one. It won't be as fun. It won't be as powerful. It won't be as good. And, maybe they buff it back up a little bit. It's probably the best case scenario. So that's about it for this. As always, I do ask you to please subscribe to the channel because it helps me out so much. And other than that, everybody, have a good one.